Hey guys, this is Lawrence of the Ketones and Coffee Podcast. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any of this great content. Stick around, guys. I'm so excited for this. Our guest today is a board certified holistic nutritionist and a certified functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner. With more than 12 years of experience as a nutritionist, she has this abundance of knowledge she has gained through coaching and, more importantly, through her own health journey. She is the owner of the Simplicity of Wellness and the creator of the Hangry to Health group coaching. I'm so excited for this. I am here with Amy White. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. I love that you're here. So excited that you're on because I think that your practice from how it started and where it is now, your understanding of nutrition, educating people of eating the right food for them, understanding what works for the body, also what makes us feel good and what doesn't, I think is key here. Just being sensitive to what we're eating, different foods that what different foods does to our body, and so we can feel great again. I'm so excited to dig in deeper into these topics. How are you? How are you right now? How are you so far? And where are you at from,
I
by the
am
way?
in Northern California and I
Mm.
am great. It is going to warm up today, so that makes me very
Awesome.
happy.
Awesome. I love that. With on this podcast, I always want to dig in deeper on, why we do things, why we do certain things, because I think how we cultivate that desire to make a change is stemming from a lot of things that we've experienced down the line, right? So,
Mhm.
but before we get to know how this all came to be, because from researching about you, your curiosity, I believe, has led you to this, right? I don't believe we have
Definitely.
definitely, because you did not plan this, correct? Like, is this something that was planned before that you wanted to be this,
No.
uh, somebody
In,
that's
in
helping
fact, the
people?
first time I was introduced to the idea of a nutritionist, I was like,
Mm.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. We'll get into that. I don't believe that we have control with everything, right? You definitely took advantage of to find what you are now loving, your mission, right? Obviously helping people find their own health, but from what I understand, you've also struggled, right, with your own weight. Following the so-called healthy diet, which is, mostly grain, right? Low fat, which is, we know isn't sustainable, but that is what was viewed as healthy.
Mhm.
Was
Still is.
still viewed as healthy. And what was your relationship with food before, and what has led you to creating this lifestyle for yourself?
So I so I was always pretty active
Mm-hmm.
as a young adult, and even more so when I had my kids. So in my early 30s, I was running around, crazy busy. I definitely was exercising, but I pretty much ate whatever I wanted. It didn't really matter, it didn't impact me at all. And then, as my kids got older, so toward the end of my 30s, late 30s, I wasn't moving as much. I wasn't chasing them the way I used to. I was still kind of eating mostly whatever I wanted, but with an understanding of what was healthy. Um, but I'd say there was some extra cupcakes in there, a little more ice cream than normal. And so I did get to a place in my late 30s where I didn't recognize myself. I had definitely put on weight. But more than that, I was tired. I was puffy. I was bloated. I was gassy. My clothes were always just too tight. They just weren't fitting, and there was bumps. I was so it was just kind of odd. And I remember specifically the moment when I was just like, what happened? I was at my niece's second birthday party, eating a cupcake, and I thought, I don't know. I'm just going to get strict. I'm just going to do all the right
Mm.
things. Then I'm going to follow the guidelines, and I'm just going to pull myself back together. So I did that for a couple of years. Um, but it didn't make a difference. Nothing really changed. And I definitely was at that point. I remember thinking, well, I guess today's the day. I'm going to go to the mall and I'm going to buy all new clothes because clearly I'm never going to fit in those clothes again. And it just seemed so sad. And I did go to the mall and I shopped and I tried clothes on and I didn't buy anything. I couldn't do it. I just was like, there's something's wrong here. But in any case, kind of around the same time, my daughter was having, my daughter had always had gut issues, but I was now getting like thinking more about it because she was going off to college. And I thought, this is not any way to leave and go off into the world. So we were trying to get her figured out, and we saw a gastroenterologist. They did a scope, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they came back and said she was fine. And I'm like, she can't eat food without having a stomach ache, or if we're in a restaurant, she has to go sit on the curb because she just, and they said, no, she's really fine. She doesn't even have reflux. And then she said, but I mean, her small intestine's red and inflamed, but that's nothing. And then she just left. And I thought, that just seems like something. So this is when I was introduced to this idea of seeing a nutritionist. And I was like, my friends, where I was like, I don't know what that is, but we're in. We'll do anything because I don't know what to do. And it was the first time in my life I felt like I just couldn't find the answer. And that doesn't sit well with me. So we went and saw this nutritionist, and she did suggest, some simple changes. Just take gluten out of her diet. It was, it was the way back when that was sort of the thing. So we did. And she had major healthy changes. Things happened. And I was just kind of like going, what is going on? And realized that I had to find out everything about food and how it impacts the body, because it was crazy to see how she changed just from that one tiny thing. And so that's what ended up putting me in nutrition school, because I ran out of things to read. And I was like, I need a reading list. I need a syllabus. So that's when I ended up in school. And that was how I figured me out, because it impacts everyone's body. And depending on what's going on with you and your goals, there's likely a communication issue if you're not seeing the results or the changes that you want. And the communication issue is coming from your food. So yeah, the standard American diet, the healthy standard American diet, that was not doing me any favors. And once I realized how different foods impacted my body, making that change, I mean, I'm 55 now and I'm in better shape than I was when I was 40 or 30, even 38. Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that a new concept for most people? Because that is not just you, right? We all come to this conclusion. Okay, I have to accept this new reality right now, because that's what you did. You accepted it. You went to the mall. You wanted to get new clothes because of, obviously, you don't think that you're gonna be able to lose this much weight, lose the weight so you can fit in those clothes anymore.
Right.
And so, yeah, is that what's going through your mind?
That's such a good question. Why do we give in? Why do we accept a new normal? And I think it's just, you get to this place where you sort of see the status quo, right? You're looking around, you see everybody else, you see people your age, you see people 5 years older than you, and you're like, oh, I guess this is just how it is. You have heartburn, you're gassy, you're bloated, you don't fit in your clothes, but it's okay because you upsize and then you still look good. And that's just how it works. And then we just slowly but surely collect these little kind of conditions, or I like to say degenerative diseases, but they're expected, right? That's how we age. And that's, so my goal is to continue to shout out there, that is not how we age. That is what we've become used to and we see as normal, but it's not, it's common. It's not normal. And so nobody has to age that way, but you have to take full responsibility for yourself and how you want to feel, how you want to look, and how you want to age, because nobody can want it more than you. And your doctor is only going to try to make you, doctors save lives, and they are there to help you feel better. So they're going to do what they can to help you feel better. They're not necessarily going to tell you to revamp, your diet and your lifestyle. I don't know that they have time to do that. They see a lot of people. So you have to want it. You have to know, okay, if this is something that I want, I like to think of it this way, kind of look at your long range goal as that thing you want the most. And then every day you get to make these choices between what you want most and maybe what you want right now. That, cupcake or frappuccino or whatever it is. And some days you have what you want now, but as long as you always kind of can have your eye on what you want most, there's no finish line. So at which speed you want to get to those goals, it's up to you. So sometimes you have what you want now instead of, going, no, that's not going to help me get what I want most. But that's all right. It's just up to you. What speed are you moving at?
There's a lot there because some people don't know what they want because again,
Yes.
they it adds to the problem, the acceptance of maybe this is how it's gonna be. I'm going up there in age, and that adds up to your more excuse that, okay, why bother? Why should I want this goal if my body's saying, hey, you're aging anyways, and everybody's seems like it happens to everybody, it seems like, and it adds up to that problem where, okay, why should I want to make a change? And you said desire, which is the key there, is wanting it, wanting to make a change. And with wanting, you have to know that there's things that can be done at this age, at when you get older, right? And so I think just knowing what is possible is one thing, and also coming to a conclusion that there's things that can be done, and you've helped many people with the same problem, and that's seen great success. And I want to just go back to when you've discovered this path for you, when your daughter got better from digestion issues, when she was having simply removing gluten from her diet, it looks like it became a personal mission for you to find out why. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Why? And what else? That was just one little thing. What else could happen if you made more changes? Now my daughter's now 28. She's going to be 29. She has 2 little kids, super healthy, but she's still, connecting with her body, adjusting, making changes. So she's known all along that, even dairy was something that negatively impacted her, but not the way gluten did. Like gluten it made her feel so bad. And it was so fast that sometimes it's nice when you have that kind of a reaction because it makes it easy to go, I'm not eating that. And that was her. She hasn't had gluten for, what is it? Over 10 years, 12 years. But the dairy she has, but she's actually recently been, stopped with the dairy because one of her newest baby has a little eczema. So she's like, you know what? The kids can't have dairy. We're all of us are going to be off dairy. And she's had some huge changes. So it's kind of fun. As you get to know yourself and as you get to recognize what makes me feel good, what really doesn't make me feel good. And the biggest thing that can happen for somebody is to just have that moment where they feel good. Because once they do, then they realize, oh, hold on, there's more. I don't want to feel lousy. This is good. I want to feel good. But so many people have forgotten what good feels like.
What else are they not telling us, right? With a small change, she got better. That your natural curiosity made you think that what else can we do, right? Can we feel much better, right? What else can we do to make a change? Because all of these, obviously, what healthy is what's portrayed as healthy is so much. There's so much things that are wrong, first of all, and if you're not in the nutrition space, it's highly unlikely that you'll come across this unless it becomes personal to you, unless there's something that you want to do, something you want to change in your life that's traditional medicine can't do anything about, right?
Yeah.
Man, I love this mission that you're on, and let's talk about getting into holistic nutrition and functional medicine,
Yeah.
and you know, I want to define it because, like we talked about, nutrition is this new concept for people that are getting into a new lifestyle, right? So if we can define these two for me.
Well, so first of all, when I was searching for my program,
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Chicago. I was surrounded by amazing universities. And I thought, gosh, I have the opportunity. Why it'd be fun to go to class. So I started looking at the programs they offered and reading the syllabus. And they were a dietetics program. And so I was like, oh, maybe that's what is that what I'm looking for? So I started reading the syllabi and realizing I could do that, but I don't believe most of what I'm reading that they're going to be teaching. And I thought, so I just can't do it. I just feel like what they're teaching is still the old stuff that didn't work for me. And now I've seen not work for other people. And that's when I had met a nutritionist, but I didn't know holistic nutrition. So then I started researching and researching because I was like, I can't do dietetics. I don't know what is this. And I stumbled into holistic nutrition. And that, it's basically whole body health. Holistic means that there's all these different modalities and they work synergistically. So yes, food, we have to figure out what works for the body, but you also have to understand, where is there dysfunction in the body? And this is where the functional nutrition piece came in, which was a second tier that I did beyond my master's in nutrition. And that's, you're looking at like 8 different, areas in the body. And one of those areas, for example, is the gut, in your gut health. And so you have to sort of look and see where the imbalance is, and then, how to create or rebalance. And all of these areas, it's like a wheel and there's spokes and they all touch each other and they all work again synergistically. So understanding kind of where imbalance is, that's the first step to creating overall wellness, holistic health. But with what I do is food is my thing. I love food. It is magical. So I always think of what I do as kind of a funnel. And so at the top of the funnel is when we get into food, we get into diet, we start talking about what are you eating, what's inflammatory, what's going on with your body. And I want to clear the muddy waters. We want to just get the most common inflammatory foods out of the picture and see what happens. Let's see what happens. So a lot of people like to dive in and do a ton of testing. Like you'll see practitioners that are like, we need to do a stool test. We need to do this test. We need to do all these tests. And then we'll get all the test results and we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. And I'm kind of the opposite. And it was one of my mentor professors. They said, so based on what you know about the client, how are you going to approach this? And then he said, if you did some testing and it came back and said, whatever, would you do something differently? And my answer was no, I wouldn't. I would start here. So that's what I do. We start here. And then if we need to dig in and get a little bit more specific, we can add some testing. We can dig in and see what's going on. But testing is expensive. And I'm like, we got to start with the broad strokes at the top. And I will tell you, pretty much every single one of my clients, broad strokes, that's what's made the difference. So it's pretty amazing. Food's amazing.
And then how about functional medicine? Is that the same thing?
So functional medicine, again, is just what I was talking about. It's that wheel. So it's looking at these different areas of the body and how they relate to each other, where the imbalance is. So with functional medicine, it's a lot about taking a health history, looking at antecedents, things that, so there's that whole, I'm sure you've heard it, that whole idea that your genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So those would be the antecedents. What's going on in your health history? What's going on in your family background? So you look to see what's going on there. Then you kind of look at, those lifestyle factors. You know, where is that trigger being pulled? Where can we make those changes? So that's kind of where the functional medicine comes in. But again, even there, broad strokes at the beginning. Yes, I understand your genetic profile. I understand that you have type 2 diabetes in your family. Maybe you have heart disease. Yes, those are all important things, and that's stuff you need to consider and think about. But how about we look at how can you adjust your lifestyle so that those things are just that they're there, they're the wallpaper, but you're not kicking them, into life, basically.
I love that, and love your message that you want to get across is you can feeling good is obtainable, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's a great message, and it doesn't come with age. First of all,
It
we hear
doesn't naturally come with age.
we hear people say it, so we believe it, right?
Oh, I mean,
People.
I should take that back, right? It
Mm,
used to in other cultures,
mm,
people age really well. It's just
mm,
unfortunately in our current culture,
mm,
it is not common, or it's
yeah.
uncommon to age with health unless you're really actively trying to do that.
You've said people forgot how to feel good,
Yeah.
what feeling good feels like, and I think this is so important to understand. It's because if you're in it, I don't think you understand what this means, right? If you don't know what's wrong with it, you're never gonna be able to fix it, right?
Right.
I want you to explain to our listeners, like, why does that happen? Why do we forget how to feel good? Oh, is it gradually over time? We just
Oh, for
what is
sure.
it?
It just builds, right?
Mm-hmm,
It builds. And again, back to kind of looking at your neighbor, looking at your
mm-hmm,
friend, your spouse, what you're seeing is normal, right? It's
mm-hmm,
what happens to everybody. So who am I to think that I'm going to feel any different, or I'm going to age any, in a different way? Who am I to think that I'm not going to end up with type 2 diabetes and be 25 pounds overweight? Well, of course I am, because that's the normal progression, right?
mm-hmm,
That's what we commonly see. And so when you're seeing that all around you, that is what you expect. So to really consider that you could have something different, that's a big deal.
mm-hmm,
You do need role models. You do need people out there to be like, wait a minute, wait, I'd rather that. I like
mm-hmm,
that, and there are those people. We all see them. There are these, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s who are just living
mm-hmm.
life and are healthy. My mother-in-law is going to be 90. This woman travels all over the world still,
Wow.
so you have to have those role models, and we're all
Mm-hmm,
on social media. Everybody sees these people out there.
mm-hmm,
They're real. When
mm-hmm,
you see that incredibly fit guy in his mid 70s, that's real. I mean, he's not my husband is in his mid 60s. He's in the best shape of his life ever.
mm.
And it's
I
that's
love
it's
it.
real.
I love it. I love that you're doing this for people. You talked about our ability to tell our bodies what to do through eating, to lose weight, to feel
Mm-hmm.
good, to have more energy. We can do all of that. We can tell our body to have all of that through food.
Yeah.
Some people don't know this. Otherwise, they will elect to choose the right foods, right? Where is the disconnect there? Because if I do really want to feel good, lose weight, and have more energy, why do people still elect to eat? Or is it just awareness? Is it just the affinity for sweets are stronger? Like, what is
Well,
it?
yes, I think there's
Mm-hmm,
real sugar addiction for sure.
mm-hmm,
So I am a low sugar nutritionist. We're going to, break up with the sugar cravings.
mm-hmm,
That's number one. Just doesn't mean you never have sugar. It just means that now you control when you have sugar, as opposed to you being, dragged around by sugar. Every time you
mm-hmm,
walk by a cookie, you have to eat it. Every time you see ice cream, you have to get ice cream. No, no, no. I mean, it doesn't mean you're never going to have those things. It just means you're going to pick and choose. Be like, yeah, maybe
mm-hmm,
maybe I will have a cookie, or you know what, I just don't feel like it. So anyway, break up with the sugar. We've all been led to believe certain things are healthy, and
mm-hmm,
when you start to recognize kind of and think of sugars as more than just ice cream and cake, and realize that you kind of live as on this blood sugar roller coaster, because even those healthy foods you're eating are slamming your body with sugars. So this is when that carbohydrate thing comes into play. There are foods that turn quickly to sugar in your body. So it has that impact on your blood sugar, raises your blood sugar. But I think where I, anyway, with clients, and actually what I even see at the store is people trying to make really good choices, but I look at that and I think, oh no, like buying that giant thing of granola bars because it's a healthy snack for their kids. Buying the whole grain Cheerios or cereal because that's a healthy choice, or the granola. But they're just full of sugar, but you don't realize it. You think, no, this is a healthy snack. Oh, my favorite is rice cakes. People eat rice cakes because they're trying to lose weight and be healthy. And rice is just this incredible sugar vehicle. I mean, it's just sugar. I always tell people, if you're having a bowl of white rice, you need to look at that bowl and start going, well, it's really just a bowl of sugar. That's all my body thinks it is.
Why do we think it's healthy though?
Right? It's a grain. We've been told grains are healthy. They're low in fat. They're healthy. They're good for us. We need grains. They're full of all these nutrients. But, we need protein is what we need. I mean, I'll just say it. We're going to come off the sugar, and then I am going to help you understand how important protein is and then how to get protein. And one of the things that's interesting about protein is it's very filling. And so just by eating more protein, you are going to crowd out what I call fun foods, but those foods that make us overeat. So those, carbohydrate rich foods, we tend to overeat. So think about it this way. Your body wants nutrients. Your cells are what we're feeding. It's not your belly. And when you eat popcorn and potato chips and rice and oatmeal, you're getting a little bit of nutrient, but you're not getting everything your body needs. So your body's going to continue to ask you to feed it. It's like, okay, thank you, but it's not enough. I need more. So can we please just bring it? So for example, I always say potato chips. If you're going to eat potato chips, your body's like, okay, we can do this, but we need to eat a lot of potato chips because I'm getting very little of what I actually need. On the flip side, when you eat a lot of protein, your body's getting everything it needs. It's getting all the vitamins, all the minerals from the protein. So your cells are kind of like, whoa, thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. We're good. So often what I like to see is people not getting hungry again for about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. And so you end up eating less without trying because you're full and you're satisfied and your body's not asking you to feed it.
At what point of this whole process, when you're coaching your client, at what point are they starting to feel much better?
Oh, very quickly. Usually within the first couple of weeks, because they're coming off the sugar. So what the first things they start to notice, this is my favorite part. The first things they start to notice is well, first they'll go, I'm not hungry. And I'll be like, that's okay. Don't panic. It's fine. Just ride it out. Your appetite will regulate, but this is fine. Don't force yourself to eat if you're not hungry. It's okay. Then the second thing they'll realize after that is, I have a lot of energy. I'm not actually looking for coffee in the afternoon anymore. I had one client, she was so funny. She goes, I cleaned my whole garage. She said, I've been trying to clean my garage for 5 years. And she just said, I got up on Sunday and I thought, I just had all this energy. And she goes, I cleaned my whole garage. And so that's number 2. And then the third thing is they start sleeping. I haven't slept in 25 years. And oh my gosh, I slept all night last night. And those are my favorites. So those were the first 3 things that happen once we start managing the sugars. And so that's really exciting. And I will tell you, once your energy is up and you're sleeping well, everything else gets easier.
I saw that, I was watching your video and then you had said in that video that your clients actually requested for a longer coaching. So you had it from 12 weeks to 6 months.
I
What are
just
they
changed
saying?
it. Yeah. So it's fun. Well, so there's my program. It has basically a nutrition health course built into the program. And it's actually really important. I find that the clients that, and pretty much most, if not all of the clients I work with, do follow the course material. So it's information I feel like they need, and it builds on itself. And it's broken up into about 8 different modules, which I've now broken into 3 distinct phases. So phase 1 is we're getting off the sugar. Phase 2 is when we start ramping up the lean mass versus fat mass. So this is when we're going to start playing with that protein, and we're really going to start burning off body fat and making sure that we're maintaining, if not increasing, lean muscle. And then the third phase is when we're going to get more into sort of lifestyle factors. So the other stuff. I always say this, and it's probably the worst thing I can do, but I'm like, it's the icing on the cake. So this is when we really start diving into the idea of movement and exercise. If people are interested in looking at, well, maybe I want to do some intermittent fasting, that's in there. I talk about, how to manage and watch blood sugar. So you can actually test your blood sugars and use that as a fuel gauge. So there's a lot of little things in there that we start talking about. And sleep is a huge one, of course. So what was happening was, we were a lot of times in 12 weeks, people were kind of just finishing up the course material. And now there's this time to really start digesting and working with what they've learned, which we do during those 12 weeks. But I've discovered that I think people really liked to hang on and continue the coaching calls because it's a lot of information. And I didn't want people to feel like they had to rush through it. I want everybody to go through at their own pace. Some people are going to take longer in phase 1. And then other people are going to be able to jump kind of right to phase 2. Maybe they already don't eat a lot of sugars and their carbs are low. Maybe they've been keto or low carb for a long time, but they just can't lose the extra fat. This is what we do in phase 2. This is when we start to, understand how we can overfuel, not just with sugars, but also with fats. Anyway, so it's a lot of information, and the greatest success comes from those that actually follow the course material, watch the videos, download the resources that I provide. I find that when they don't dig into the course material, it's just a weekly coaching call, but it has no, they almost don't quite understand why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. So it gets a little bit frustrating. I'm like, did you watch this video? You need to go back and do this again. So, and typically if I feel like they're not getting it and I ask, they'll be like, no, I haven't been able to watch those videos. I'm like, oh, okay.
I want to compare this with the traditional way of the traditional healthy way, which is grain, exercising, reducing calories, and then maybe cheating on the weekends. But why is that lifestyle not sustainable, and why is this sustainable? Is there a big difference in whether it's the goal, right? Because I understand what if you're on that way of eating, your goal is always to lose weight. Your goal is never feeling good,
Health. Right.
right? So is that the difference, or what is a big difference for you, since you've done both?
For me, that is the number one thing I want to hear from a client is that their ultimate goal is health. Like they want to actually feel good, because those are the people that understand that as you're improving your health, optimizing your body shape and size is an end result of getting healthy. It's what happens. So I always say, when you put the right pieces in place and you're doing things that are making you feel better on a day-to-day basis, time is your ally. At this point, you just trust the process and understand that your body is going to shift in the right direction. If you're just focusing on losing weight, it tends to be that yo-yo thing, right? Because you're doing all these crazy things to force this weight loss. Your body is not happy, and it's gonna slingshot right back, because it's also so it's not sustainable. So they'll push, 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 and in their back of their head, they're constantly like, I cannot wait until I lose those last 5 pounds so that I can finally eat like a normal person. And I'm like, but that normal person was what caused the problem in the first place. You can't do what you did and continue to expect a better result. So, I mean, we always all say that. You have to, it's not about dieting, it's about changing the way you do things. And again, back to my 6 months versus my 12 weeks, it comes down to habit change. And so while my clients are now working on adjusting their lifestyle with these new healthy habits, it's always the more support you can get during habit change, the more likely it's going to stick. And so that's kind of what that extended time is. It's to keep checking in, look at where we might make some adjustments. I just had a graduate call on Wednesday, and it was so fun. And, they came in with some of the stuff that was kind of not working or freaking them out, just lifestyle stuff. Mm-hmm. We kind of talked it back, and it wasn't as bad as they thought. And we put in some action steps, some things they could focus on to kind of move beyond that. It's very fun.
I love that answer. Wow. Amy White, guys, where can people find you?
So my website is called thesimplicityoFwellness.com. And if you go to my website, you will go right into my homepage, which takes you into my free mini course. So it's a 5-day little course, and I pull things out of my Hangry to Healthy program to kind of get you acquainted with what I do, how I do it, why I do it. And then you get a taste of what that's like. It's 5 days. It's simple. You get it in your email in the morning. And then, of course, my Hangry to Healthy program, which to only take a few people. I'm just starting, like in March, I'll probably open up for 4 new people. So I take a few people, when I feel like the group is ready for some new, because it's also good for everyone in the group, because the new people learn from the older people are reminded of, oh, that's right. Oh, I remember that lesson. Oh yeah. And it's the dynamic is amazing. I find that group coaching is so much more effective than one-on-one coaching, because the group dynamic is amazing.
We'll put all your links down below so everybody can check that out, guys. Accountability is a huge thing. Whenever whatever change you want to do in life, is you want to be accountable, and having a coach that will hold you accountable is very important in sustaining a lifestyle like this, guys. Amy White, thank you so much for coming on. Love your story, love your mission, and good luck to everything, and hopefully we get another session maybe next year. We'll see. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right, Amy. Bye-bye.